Overseer's Log 15, Terms of Protection. Hello, Vault Dwellers and Wastelanders. My name is Kyle, and you are listening to the Overseer's Log, our companion diary series that goes along with our primary campaign of the Fallout TTRPG series, Tales from Tomorrow, Under the Mothman's Embrace. And I'll pardon myself in advance in saying I am very scatterbrained right now. Saturday's a big, busy day for me. This week has been long and very tedious with things outside of the Fallout space. So thank you to everyone that brought some levity to the week and made me smile and left nice comments on YouTube videos and things like that. Remember that every ounce of your interaction, even if you just thumbs up, comment below, all of that makes a difference whether YouTube sends our content out or not. For example, we've been doing really great with YouTube Shorts. Sometimes we get 2,000 to 4,000 views on them. I woke up this morning to one that had seen 5 views. Why YouTube hides some things when showing others is a true mystery to me. But that's part of the algorithm beast, I suppose. I do have a little bit of a rundown log today. I'm not going to keep you all too long because I'm going off to meet with our players for the Fallout summer campaign series. We're going to meet up and do another one of those. If you want to catch the last 3 hours that we chatted the previous week, that is up on the Substack page right now. You can go over to tftfallout.com and find that nice and easily. But I've got announcements for today. The very first one I want to go through is that Vault broadcast is up on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. You can go subscribe to that in advance. Vault broadcast is going to be our Fallout talk show that we host here with a bunch of other creators from the community, whether they're podcasters, event planners, prop makers, artists, anything of that magnitude. We're looking to get those people on, have a good chat with them. But we're also looking to expand this out to be a variety show where we bring through other creatives who don't necessarily just want to do an interview or just come by and talk with us just to gab, but people who might want to record some skits that we include at the end. Could be things akin to holotapes that maybe they record. Could be little ad pitches, especially if you're a prop maker, maybe you sell some stuff. If you want to record an ad that is in theme of the Fallout universe. I'm combining Vault and Fallout. If you're a prop maker or someone who's selling Fallout related merch and you want to promote that on the show, you could record ad spots that are in theme, in character, and that'd be really cute to add to the end. These little skits, these little just creative embellishments people could do. I really like that, and I saw them. I'm inspired by a previous podcast, and I'll tell you which one it is for those that are interested. Way back when I was a teen, nearing 20 years ago, I listened to a podcast called The Instance. Right? 20 years ago? Is it that long? Well, we're getting there, actually. Yeah, it would be like 2008, 2007. God, that is almost 20 years ago. Anyway, I was listening to a show called The Instance by Scott Johnson. Really great show. Really inspired me as a creator. And that show was just all about World of Warcraft, and they would bring through some regular guests that would come by. But at the end of the show, they would have this sort of just MP3s that they would plop into the back end of the podcast episode. And it would, again, be people doing little skits, little rundowns, maybe sharing some news from their perspective. I think there was always someone that kind of commented on the auction house in World of Warcraft and some people that talked about props and other things. It was just very cute, very, very, very light fare. And I want to open that up to people in the Fallout universe here too. We actually already have a submission form, and the place to go for that would be overseerkyle.com. Will take you up to our Notion site. I think in the last episode, I had mentioned we had this really unruly URL, and that URL still exists up there, but I have a redirect in the meantime. So if you go to overseerkyle.com, that will take you straight to our landing page with all the shows. And if you want to submit yourself for Vault Broadcast, whether you're a creator or just someone with big ideas and you want to talk about those, you can fill out that form, and I'll get in touch with you at a later time about scheduling. In fact, I've already got a little bit of an auto scheduler set up. Fantastical gives me this feature where I can send out my openings to people, and they can just check which days they want to come by. And I'm going to be working and tweaking that system over the next week. But it is my hope that sometime after probably the 26th of May, I'll be sending those emails out to anyone that's already submitted themselves, they'll get a scheduling link and can start putting themselves in for June, and that'd be really cool. My friend Dark Knight just got a new microphone, so there's a good chance he'll come by as our regular co-host. That would be my ideal option. If that doesn't work out for his schedule or anything like that, we're going to be looking for other co-hosts out there in the community, people who want to come by and do the show maybe twice a week. It would be me leading the content, talking people through the run of show and all of that, just setting up the atmosphere. But that co-host job to ask questions, to be engaged, to be creating that back and forth dialogue, making it friendly for all the listeners at home. And TK's already got a really good spirit in him of asking questions about the Bethesda shop and other things that are going on. And maybe I'll use this as an opportunity to remind people, if you're listening to this at home, live or recorded, you can get 20% off the Bethesda shop by using our codes, which I think the ones I want to recommend to you would be BTales27, BTales28. And if those expire, check out BTales29 and BTales30. You probably got the gist by now, but the codes expire in a week. They have 10 uses, so I make new codes all the time. Check the latest YouTube video description for the latest codes. If you ever run out and desperately need to buy your Bethesda stuff right now, you can come to the Discord server and ask questions. Ask me directly there if I can get you a new code. And I probably will, but I'll warn you, it's going to probably take me like 8 hours if I'm sleeping. And if not, you can get it within probably 2 to 3 hours. But anyway, we'll get back on track here for Vault Broadcast and say I'm really excited. We've got some great people who've already submitted themselves in there. We have some people I have no idea about, which is cool too. It's where I want to kind of bring a balance to the show. We're going to focus on creators. That is going to be the primary energy of the show. But I don't want to limit it to just creators. It could be people who have, again, big ideas for the community. If they want to come by and do a lore lesson, or they want to come by and talk to us about an idea they have. Maybe they want to speculate about the new TV series season and all kinds of stuff like that. If they want to come by, we're not turning people away. Except, proudly, we accept no bigotry, right? As I always say, if you come by as a bigot, we'll smash you faster than a vault door closing on your leg. Like, I promise you, it'll be painful, it'll be miserable, and you'll be gone. But that, on the bright side, makes a safe place for everybody else. People that want to have a good community, want to have a good time with one another, and want to feel safe. Again, we don't tolerate any kind of white supremacist affiliations, no extreme conservatism or all that stuff. It's just too violent as an ideology to accept in our circles. And so, again, we proudly discourage any of that. Or not even just discourage, we proudly stamp that out like crushing the enclave into the ground. But anyway, we'll go back to the happy part of this, which is just to say that there is a form that you can submit if you're interested in joining, and it asks those questions. It says, are you over 18? You agree with our share and share alike politique? Do you have a specific interest or topic you want to discuss? Do you have any previous links to your content? And so people can go and fill all of that out if they want to get a spot on the show. And like I said, you'll get later an email sent back to you with a scheduling link that you can just fill out. Hopefully that'll make it nice and easy for people. At this exact time of recording, I am going to limit myself to Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to do these Vault broadcasts. Overseer's Log this week is getting recorded on Saturday. I should have done it yesterday. Terrible headache. Didn't do it on Friday, but that's okay. We're not having a main episode tomorrow, Sunday, so my weekend is a little bit more clear in the brain. I can actually focus on some of this. I felt a little bit bad that I got nothing done yesterday. What a waste of a day that was. But I still got that scheduler set up, so that's something, right? What else do we have to talk about? Let's go over to the ye old list I've made. So Vault Broadcasts coming soon. It's already on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, and more. So go search that in your favorite podcast player. If it's not there, please do let me know, and I'll make sure to get it up there. Pocket Casts is an example of one I don't think I've submitted to yet. I really like them, but I haven't put it up there yet out of just lack of time. Let's see. No Tales from Tomorrow this week. We said that. Ooh, there is a live unboxing of Lucy's backpack from the Fallout TV series up on my Overseer Kyle YouTube channel. So again, if you go to overseerkyle.com, you can find links to all of this. Very easily get a link to the YouTube channel from there, or just go to YouTube and search Overseer Kyle. You'll find it just fine. But we unboxed Lucy's backpack, which is really cool, really exciting to look through. Very expensive, but again, if you want to save some money with it, use that code at checkout, and you give us a 10% kickback, and you save yourself 20% off. Discord Hangout, that's what's going on very soon. So to our live listeners who are catching us over on Twitch on the Overseer Kyle Twitch page, if you're out there in the audience, you may hear that you can join us in about 30 minutes, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Discord meet and greet going on. It'll last for about 2 hours, maybe 3 if we're feeling really over the top, really chatting, which we did the previous time. I think we recorded a full 3 hours worth for that podcasty behind the scenes sort of energy. Again, you can grab that up on the Substack for Tales from Tomorrow. But if you got time, you can attend that today. You can attend it next week. Those are going to go on until about the last weekend in June. The last weekend in June is the one we're going to do our session 0 for the Lost But Not Forgotten campaign for our Fallout TTRPG series. So that's what's kind of going on. These meet and greets are a spot to ask questions about the TTRPG. It's a spot to chat amongst yourselves and get to know one another. Even if you're not scheduled for the TTRPG yet, come by, ask those questions, share and share alike. In fact, someone who was not scheduled for that campaign came by last week and we scheduled them into the campaign. Look at that. Jiminy, who their schedule didn't work for June initially, was able to do that. Actually, is it July? Pardon me, I should have said July. Their schedule initially didn't work for the July recordings, but coming by, they said, oh yeah, I can be flex with that. I can submit that to my boss and get some different times. So that's really cool. I mean, coming by the meet and greets got someone in early, and I like that. I like being kind of flexible and facilitating in that way. So if you're someone that's at all interested in the Fallout TTRPG, again, even if you're not scheduled yet, come by on Saturday, hang out with us. 3 hours. You don't have to stay for the whole thing, but any stretch. It's a come and go, have some drinks, have some food, whatever you want to do. Ask those questions, talk Fallout lore with people who also love it to the same degree that you do. What else do we got here? So Discord Hangout. Maybe I'm getting to the end of the list. We did post episode 15 already of the Tales from Tomorrow podcast. That's up there. That's where we'll probably pivot into this last little bit. How long have I even been here? Only 13 minutes. Today is going to be short, though. Anyway, so episode 15. We left that one off on a bit of a cliffhanger. Maybe that's the wrong word for it. Cliffhanger is not the right word at all. We left that off in a bit of a closure moment. Because Skylar's schedule got a little bit weird, like he had new job, new schedule, all that stuff, not knowing if we'd be able to make recordings work in the near future. That campaign has already run 1 year in the back burner. It's only been on Twitch for 2-3 months, but it's already run itself for over a year. And so I wanted to kind of leave this last episode off just in case we aren't able to meet up again. Just in case. The characters you see sailing off into the sunset on their boat. It's a big episode where they meet with the Free Radicals, finally meet the boss of the Free Radicals. Sam has to make some tough decisions about what the real price of protection is worth. How many deals do you make with the devil to secure yourself and your freedom? And is it really freedom if you have to do that? So lots of interesting themes explored under the surface there. We got to see a little bit more of Rusty, got to see a little bit more of his behavior. I think I'm speaking from the GM perspective for sure in this one. It feels to me like a lot of my players have really trusted Rusty, and I feel like they had to really evaluate themselves in this last episode. Like, certainly Sam is in a spot where I don't think he feels very confident anymore. He really was taken aback, much more than I expected, by something that Rusty had said to him, which Rusty had asked Sam if Sam's really the heroes or if they themselves are just raiders. And that was a really interesting question because my players have really brought a lot of trauma to the town of Hope. They have probably brought as much trauma to the town as they have salvation. They've reactivated police protectrons. Is that a good thing? I don't think so, exactly. I mean, sure, they brought some defense to the town, but they also reactivated an element of the armed state of capitalism. Even though they're reprogrammed, I mean, what does that do? You know, does that still add a little bit of a big brother, the state's watching you and enforcing you sort of element? I mean, Raven really infected the town near twice over with that fungal plague, which I think was before the formal recordings. But she brought like a necrotizing fungus into town. They found it in a house nearby, and they not only brought it once, but they brought it twice over. And so the townspeople, this is again just GM thoughts on it. I can tell my players have been a little bit hit and miss on whether the town likes them or not. Raven herself, being a Mothman cultist in a time when Mothman cultists are ravaging the area and are very unliked, is interesting. She was almost killed the day that they arrived in town. One of the guards saw her, acted strange, and she failed some sort of like athletics check. The guard dragged her in front of the courthouse, and they almost executed her point blank there. Sorry, in front of the church turned like community building. They almost executed her right then and there. And that was, I think, a true moment of my players being like, oh, wow, yes, we have our ideas in our head of what we want to affect into this world, but not always do the NPCs in this world care about our intentions, right? It's that question of the road to hell is paved with good intentions. A lot of my players have good intentions, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that other NPCs see it that way, right? Like if in video games, we're so used to like, oh, your character just rolls into town and is accepted. Like you just do the thing and you're here, you've checked the boxes, and now you're considered some kind of leader. But in a real functional living world like we're developing, that's not a given. You come into town and you have these highfalutin ideals, you're messing up other people's way of life, either for good or for ill, but how that's perceived will be very dependent on who those people are that you're affecting. Again, with the guard ready to kill Raven's character right away, with some of the way the townsfolk have just sort of acted with them. Oh, also to call out that, our characters, our individual our individual player characters, Sam, Raven, Jim, effectively sort of doomed the Town of Hope recently in, what was it, like episode 12 to 13, 14? No, it must have been before 14. Where they went to the Mothmen encampment, they kidnapped two of them, brought them back to town, and then gave away all the town's location and all this to these very highly tapped in cultists who could communicate beyond just the bounds of their voice, that there was other things listening. And in a way, unexpected to even me, my players took sort of bait that I didn't set, but they took bait and brought it back to the town, and that's when the police station was destroyed with the roots that came out of the cultists and all the rest. And I think that was kind of a big surprise for both my players and myself, because I don't plan any of that. I just roll with the punches to make cinematic moments. When they tried to really scare this cultist, it made sense to me in that time that cultists would be willing to sacrifice themselves to be the undoing of the town. And so that's where, again, in my mind, it brings up all these questions now, like, are my players actually heroes or are they doom bringers? It feels like more often than not, they're bringing doom to the town. And that's just sort of a different way of looking at the matter. As for the actual Mothman overarching part of the plot, I'm interested to see how long that goes on. It for me as a first-time DM, it's a change between my players doing more tiny missions and now having a large overarching plot. And it's something that, I'll be honest, I'm not sure exactly how much I'm happy with that and how much energy I want to put into that. I like smaller plots. This is going to be a niche reference. But there's a lot of TV shows that'll fit this bill. So even if you don't get this one, maybe you'll be able to apply it to one you like. If you've ever seen the show Fringe from back in the day, it was all about pseudoscience and exploring the unknown. Season 1 of it was all these tiny little plots, tiny little mysteries they went and solved. And then after that point, it picked up with this big overarching multi-season story arc. And in the process of that, they lose all the tiny little one-off mysteries. And I don't love that in TV shows a lot. Like if I'm hooked for the small campaign, tiny little one-shotty type things, then when they decide to switch it to full campaign mode for the TV series, you know, it's just not as, it changes. It's maybe good, but it's just not the same. And I worry a little bit about that as a DM for our campaign here too, that I both like having an overarching plot, but it's one thing that I also don't want to drive away all the small little mini missions. So what does that mean very, very hands-on for our campaign? Well, that could mean that where our players were before, exploring some local houses, going after a Wendigo, doing all this little stuff, now they're very focused on, we've got to solve this Mothman crisis. And so I am going to be balancing a little on the back end how much that comes their way versus how many other mini missions catch their eye. The Mothman cultists have been growing in the background the whole campaign. But I guess this is a reminder to me as a GM that I need to make sure that the plot arcs in different, or maybe not arcs, but that it forks into different directions, that they can still go and be sort of homegrown. The bad guy that they're facing, that they understand to be facing already, is so powerful that it can't be solved in one direct assault on wherever they think the headquarters is. It's going to be something that is going to probably fall appropriately to the plot a little bit into the shadows here and there. They're not always going to be seeing Mothman cultists around. Sometimes they will be there and very present and very punchy. Other times they will probably retreat into the shadows, regroup, reinforce, spawn up in different areas. Much to that idea. I don't want to spoil too much, but just to give that kind of context. My players recently lost their APC for the time being. It's fairly badly damaged in the town of Hope, getting repairs. They now have a fishing boat that they acquired. This is where I'll also just give a thought that for pacing, I probably should have spread those two things apart, the APC and the fishing boat. I feel like in a way I've maybe given too many vehicles at once, and I don't want to overwhelm players or viewers with those sort of things, but it's new to me, new to giving out vehicles in the game. But they used the one to get the other, and they lost the one sort of in the process. So they took the APC to recover the boat, and in the process, the APC got damaged and is now in a spot in Hope getting repaired if Elena recovers. But it's been very interesting to develop this plot. My goal is to keep it interesting, keep it flexible. I don't want to make people feel too powerful all at once. I don't want to make people feel weakened. Like I don't want to give someone stuff and then take it away. That's, I guess an idea with the APC I have in hindsight. I never planned on the APC getting that damaged. It just wasn't even in my idea. When they did the assault on the beachhead, I had no idea that the APC would take any meaningful damage. In fact, the preparations I had in my head was that if they had a complication when they were firing the APC towards the boat, that they would destroy or damage badly the boat in the process. They might puncture its hull with like a 105 millimeter shell or something like that out of the APC cannon. So anyway, this is just a long-winded story to say, I'm learning balance. Balance is going to be a perpetual thing for all GMs, always, player power fantasy versus longevity of storyline, right? Like if you give all your players the most powerful weapons on day one, they might feel very powerful, but they're not going to have meaningful bad guys to fight. That's obviously a hyperbolic exaggeration there. Like that's really exaggerated. But I think another way this plays out is monsters, enemy NPCs. I have been sure to trickle them out and use them fairly uniquely. They fought bloatflies, mongrels, Yaogwai, Wendigo, Mothman cultists. They fought a lot of turrets, but I don't think they've actually fought a robot yet. I don't think they've fought a Protectron or a Mr. Handy, Gutsy. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's the meat and potatoes. Oh, Mirelurks. They fought Mirelurks. Some ghouls. So that's a pretty great list. Pretty strong list. But I also want to throw out there, that is not every NPC in the book. And that's what's in my mind a lot of the time is, what can I sprinkle in that's fun, appropriate, and not throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at them at once, because you want this to be spread out over time, right? You don't want them to encounter every enemy right away. And you also, I think of it this way, I don't want to be opening up the bestiary and going page by page. Cave, cricket, stingwing, this, that, the other, I want to make it fun. I want to give people, I guess they also fought mole rats and probably some rad roaches in the very early part of the game, if that wasn't live on Twitch at that point. So kind of forgotten about that, and my players probably have as well. It's just been a very fun learning experience. And in this specific time when I'm gearing up for the next campaign, I am really looking forward to seeing what comes next. Now, looking at the clock, I am going to bail out of here. I have already kept you for 26, well, it's a little under 26 minutes. But I've already kept you for 26 minutes, so we're going to skedaddle. We're going to get going. I'm going to get ready to meet with those people in 15. So if you're there for that, if you're watching this live on Twitch, head over to the Discord server. If you're watching this later, syndicated on YouTube or wherever else, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Give it a comment below. Please, a comment is totally free. You don't have to say anything intensive. You could just say great episode if you want. Something simple, but it helps the algorithm a ton. And that is our real enemy, right? As a creator, I hate the algorithms. Their job is to keep these platforms getting ads and AdSense and to keep you going down rabbit holes. And that doesn't necessarily mean feeding you the content you like or want. My YouTube is a graveyard of channels I have subscribed to, but it no longer shows me because the algorithm sucks. They all do, whether you're on Twitch or Instagram or anywhere else. So make sure to give them likes, share your favorite content creators' works, put them in your stories, send them to friends, share them in other Discord servers where it's allowed. All of that matters. And a huge, huge call to action at the end of this episode. If you have people you want to see interviewed or chatted with on the Vault Broadcast podcast, send that to them. Tell them about it. It is brand new. It hasn't even been fully unveiled yet. There's a teaser trailer up on most of them. But even on YouTube, I don't think the teaser trailer is I don't think it's up there yet. So it's still very much in its growth phase. And in June, it's going to come out punching and swinging. So look out for that. Everyone at home, thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your involvement, investment. Check out those Bethesda gift cards. Check out the Bethesda gear site discount codes. You can find links to those or the codes themselves in the description of this episode. You can also save 10% off of the TTRPG at the Modiphius site with the evergreen code BTales. No number at the end, just BTales. Save yourself 10% off of minifigs, books, PDFs, whatever you're going to buy, and it helps us out a ton. So thank you, and we will catch you next week. Stay safe, Vault Dwellers.